Your flexibility, is there any early gauge you can take as far as the overall flexibility of your defense goes? How many different guys can play different things?
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at our starting lineups over the last 2 years, I think we've had a lot of different lineups for various reasons. And I think you've always got to train guys, because defense is about one-on-one matchups and making plays in one-on-one situations and getting the next best player on the field. So I don't think it's real difficult to do. I think that the biggest thing is, as coaches, we got to be on the same page. I think we've done a good job with that, and we just got to make sure that we script it and schedule it to where, hey, 2 days he may be at this position, and then the third day he goes here. So that way you make sure he gets what he's got to get.
Is there anybody from the new group of enrollees that have kind of jumped out to you first few days?
I would say after day 4, not yet. I mean, I want to wait and see what guys can do when we're in a scrimmage situation, and kind of go from there. I think all the guys have worked hard, and kind of look forward to seeing how they play when it's a scrimmage type situation. They got to play multiple plays in a row and do it just like it's a game.
Forgive me if someone's already asked, but Trey Matthews was wearing green today. Can you tell us anything about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, he'll be fine. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the medical deal on that. He was out there watching. He learned. He got the mental reps. I don't see it being a big issue. Really, no different than when Fluke was out the first 2 days and came back. So, I don't think it'll be a big deal.
I'm actually asking you to repeat yourself a little bit on this, but you were talking about Jordan Jenkins when we met with you earlier. Just what is it you want to see him get better at? Obviously, we know he can play. We saw him the second half of last season.
I just think that he's a young player. I mean, as a linebacker, I mean, this is really only his second year playing outside linebacker. Just want to see him develop as a complete linebacker, and that means, as an outside backer, you got to have the ability to set the edge on the run game, play with your hands, and get off blocks, and control. Whether it's a tight end or a tackle, and do those kind of things. When it's a pass, you got to have that ability to affect the quarterback, and not so much sacks. I mean, obviously we want sacks, but affect the quarterback, get the guy off the spot. Force the throw. Interceptions can be caused a lot of times by pressures too, even though you don't get the sacks. And just develop those things to where you become a consistent performer in run and pass. And then from a coverage element, just make sure you know your matches. I think he's worked really hard to try to do all 3 of those areas. And he's a guy that takes a lot of pride in his work. And he'll continue to work and develop. And look forward to watching him play this year and continue developing.
How does he measure attitude?
He's awesome attitude. He's awesome attitude. I mean, he's a very conscientious guy. Wants to do things the right way. If he doesn't do it the right way, he wants to know why and how he can get better. Watches tape very well. He's an easy guy to coach from that standpoint. He's a self-starter. He's going to work on things himself. And when guys start doing that, that's how they get better. And I just think it's a matter of him just continuing to develop in those 3 areas we talked about, and just play. And if he does that, I think he'll be fine.
Todd, overall, just how would you rate the first few days? Obviously, you've got a lot of new guys, and it's kind of seeing what
first 4 days. I think it's first 4 days. I think there's good things. There's things you got to improve upon. It's never as good or bad as you think it is when you watch the tape. The biggest thing is you got to look at the players and what they can do, and the areas they can help us, and in the areas that we got to most help them relative to their time here. Meaning, is it a freshman? Is it a mid-year? A guy in the middle of his career. I mean, what does the guy got to do to develop? Because right now you're trying to develop the players in the roles that we think that they can help us. The issue that you have a little bit with the 16 new guys is this is our first time working with them, so you want to try them in a lot of different spots. So I think we'll still do that for roughly 4 or 5 more days to try to get a feel for that, and then once we do that, I think we start honing in a little bit more specific on what they can do to help us this year, and train them that way, and try to do that through the second, third, as we put in our schemes and things. And then the last third, we got to get ready, for the first ball game. So pleased with their effort, pleased with the way they approach meetings as well as on the field work. And you just got to get better every day. Training camp is a little bit like Groundhog Day, meaning you practice in the morning, then you come back in the afternoon and you watch the tape in the morning, and you look at the things you did well and the things you got to improve upon, you clean them up, and then you come back at night and you install for the next day what you're going to do, and you do that. You have a walkthrough, and then you go out the next day and practice, and you do the whole cycle all over again. So the way we're set up, we'll do that, for roughly seven days or so, and then the cycle will start all over again. And then the theory is that way you've introduced it one time, you've thrown it up there, what sticks, okay? Then when you come back the second time through, you're going to throw it up again, and hopefully more sticks. And that's kind of the process that we go through.
What's the value